Hi, my name is Paul Mersel from TrainworX. Welcome to this video. I would like to do a short video of on new version of the RE460. As you all probably know, there is a new Swiss route by Rivet Games called Gotthardbahn, and that is obviously very suitable for a lot of my TrainworX trains. So I've been working with them for quite a while now to make sure that I get at least the trains that are suitable for the Gotthard route, to get them upgraded and fully compatible with Rivet's signaling and ZUP system. As you know, there are actual ZUP magnets now available on the Rivet route, and I think it's important that I upgrade my trains to communicate with those magnets. So that means there are some changes. What I've done is not only added the ZUP functionality, the actual ZUP functionality that communicates with Rivet's magnets, but also made some other changes to improve on some things from version 3.0, and also try to make it a little bit easier to drive the engine, and we'll go into some of these details during this video. In a later point, at the date that we shoot this video, the RE420 and RE620 still need to be upgraded. The 420 is almost done now, and the 620 is not that much different from the 420, so that'll be not too long before we update all three. And those are the three engines that actually operate on the Gotthardbahn, or did so before the tunnel was there. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll go into the program now and show you some of the things I've done, some of the changes, and we'll just drive a short scenario on the Gotthardbahn. If you go into your TrainworX menus, you can now look for 460. If we type that in, and you will see, disregard those two because those are concepts that I made with older types, but the two here, those two are the ones that you will probably see if you have both the Rivet's Gotthardbahn and my SBB RE460 version 4 pack installed. It means that if you choose for the left one, that's the original Rivet version of the RE460. The right one is well, a variety of trains that come with the TrainworX pack. Some of these one is new. The 31 is a new livery, and where it says R3, actually the 31 is R3 too, so I should probably change that, but R3 means that it's a refitted version, so that means that it's a newer refitted RE460, and there are some slight changes in the cab too, but we'll come to that later. So those are all the 460s, and then if we want to do the BLS version, we type in 465, and then we'll have the two BLS trains available. There is RG in brackets, and this makes clear that it's a Rivet Games compatible version. So because I have changed the installation folder from CreativeWorks to TrainworX now with this version, that means a couple of things. Because it's an upgrade, it's actually a completely different engine and a different folder. So you could still keep the old one installed and use them, well, next to each other, but it's probably better to delete the old version and just use the new one. But for those who think there are some things that are still in the old one which they like, they could be used together, both on the same system. Anyway, but the other ones don't have the RG brackets, so that's where you can see which ones are compatible. Anyway, we'll start up a scenario. What I've done is quite easily just switched out one of the in the scenario Bellinzona to or Gotthard IC Winter northbound, I have changed Rivet's RE460 for one of mine, and the rest is all the same. So I just did a local swap there, and it's a winter scenario. We'll just start that up. Okay, so here we are. Let's go outside, open the doors. This is the new version that comes with the new version 4 pack. It's the January 2020 version. I like that very much. I wanted to do that earlier, but I couldn't find the correct images for it. But I think it came out pretty nice. We've got another one coming in here. So the one that's coming in is a Rivet RE460. Obviously the coaches that I'm pulling are also all Rivet Games. Look very nice. Anyway, if we go in the cab, we'll see a couple of things. First of all, because this is an R3 version, this quadrant of the dash is a little bit different. The functionality is still the same, but the buttons look different. The wipers now have a lot of settings. I only have the 3 off, slow and fast, but at least it looks like the refit. And on the left here we've got a cup holder added. So very small details, but still I think it was worth doing that. If we then go through the cab, some of the things are new. We can now move, but we'll be a little bit late, but doesn't matter. First thing is that I've changed the schedules. It now shows schedules between Eerstveld and Bellinzona, and the other way around. We're at Bellinzona now. We're going to go to Biasca, so we'll need this one. We can switch on GSMR, which was already functionality that was there before. Something that did change is we are now in park mode, like it's called Parkstellung in German, and that means that both pantographs are up, and we've got this right light here, and on the back we've got this light. That's actually the setting when the driver has to leave the cab to either switch cabs to the other side of the train or switch the train over to another driver. It's in this position. What has changed is that this parking position is now linked to the PMS brakes. The PMS brakes are like the magnet brakes, the quite big magnets that drop down on the track to keep it steady. That's now linked, so you don't have to switch those on and off separately. We can start up the engine manually. I won't go into that, but you will then do the key, and you will do the pento and the main switch. There is a thing which is copied from the real one. If you turn on the key and within 3 seconds you press the main switch, it will automatically raise the pentos if they're not raised. But normally it will be this one key, the pento, and then the main. And then you have to do all the other things too manually. But what I'll do now is use the shortcut for that, which is Ctrl-Shift-S, and you'll see that it boots up the system. It actually starts up everything except for, you see that the PMS brake is now lifting, it's now up. You're gone. And the only thing that you need to do now is loosen the brakes, set it in drive position, and then we're off. But what we're going to do here is activate Zoop. If we leave it like this and don't activate it, the system will default into the default train simulator settings, the AWS system, where it will give you a warning on restrictive signal, and you have to acknowledge that. And you can do that with this like the queue, and that will be the simple system, which will function on, I think, almost every other route. If you are on a Rivet Games route like the Gotthardbahn, then you can activate Zoop by pressing the green test button. You don't have to have the PMS brakes engaged. That was the old version. You had to have that brake on before you could activate soup. Now you can just activate it anyway, so we'll do that. It goes through a short test sequence, then it applies the brakes. We'll break out of that by pushing the red button and then restart the main. And now our soup system is on. What it also did, it happened when we pressed Ctrl-Shift-S, it activated Wachsamkeitscontroller, which is the deadman switch, or the Sifa in German. It operates a little bit differently. We can switch that off again by pressing Shift-7. Because doing this video, I am bound to forget about that and get the emergency brake. So I'll switch that off for now. And actually, we're ready to go now. We're obviously much too late, but I think we can still do it. The speed is 60. It has set the VSOL to 40 because that's the automatic. If you do the automatic start, it goes to 40. Let's raise that to 60, and then loosen the brakes. There we go, and then just drive away. Here we go. You will have some pantograph arcing, some flashing. You can switch that off if you want. It's all in the manual. It'll only happen in the winter season, and it's depending on the power you apply. Okay, let's go up to 60. So what we'll see now is the soup system is active. It's 4H now. I have to say, Rivet has tried to do its best to mimic the real soup system, and I've done the same in picking up the magnets and making sure that it shows the correct displays in the train. But there are probably some things that aren't completely right. If we pass a soup magnet now, you will see this light flashing, and then it'll show you the new soup display. This display means that it's actually, there's no restriction, so it's track speed really, and you can just I think the track speed here is about 100. So we'll speed up to that. The flashing LED when you pass the soup magnet is functionality that I don't think is there in the real one. But I thought it would be good to here we go again. In this version, to just show that it is active and that it is listening to the magnets. Just a little help there. Okay, let's check that speed. Yeah, that's 100. So we'll go there. There's no ETCS, but what I did keep is if you want to set VSOL over the speed limit, it turns red. And if you actually, we need to slow down to 90, I think, because now we're too fast. So it turns red, now it turns back to, we can go to 90. I should have, there was a sign which I missed obviously, but actually you saw what happened. There was overspeed, there was a warning, you have to quit that. And now we're fine again. Anyway, so what have we mentioned? Okay, I've switched the Wachsamkeitscontrol off, so the Sifa or Deadman's pedal is off, and we've got soup active. It doesn't show much because we are still at track speed, so there's no restriction. Let's go all the way up to 120. We are driving towards Biasca now, and I know in this scenario, just before entering Biasca station, we have a diverging switch, or even two of them, which needs us to slow down to 60, and that's where the soup system will help us out. But there'll be another. Let's see where we are now. We are are at Castione, so we're at 147, and we need to go to Biasca 131, so about 6 kilometers to go before we are at Biasca. In the meantime, is there anything else that I can tell you? Well, it's all basically the same as the old version. There are some changes in the sound. The Zoop system is, maybe that's a good one to explain. Let's see if we can, the Zoop system, at least that's what we've tried to do, is more like the real one. So in the old version I also used track limits and track speeds to show on the Zoop system. In real life that's not the case. That's only the Zoop magnets that will give that information. So that has been removed from the system. So the Zoop system now only picks up what the magnets are telling it to do. What I did keep is a braking curve. So if there is a restriction, the system will calculate the speed that we're at and the speed that we need to be and the distance, and it will then sort of keep track, monitor your speed, and if you're going too fast, it'll give you a warning. You have to slow down, all the way to the point where you pass the main signal, and you have to be at the right speed there. Another thing is that this switch can turn two ways now. If I press Q, it'll go to the right. That's to acknowledge a warning and to quit the warning beep. But I can also do Shift Q, and then it'll turn to the left. And that's what we use if we want to free ourselves from a restrictive signal where we need to stop. So let's say the Zoop system indicates that we have to go to a full stop at a red signal. It'll show a 0 on the display, and the braking curve will calculate the speed all the way to a full stop. If during that stretch of track the signal changes and goes from red to another state, we need to break free from that braking curve, and we can do that by pressing Shift Q. It'll then the Zoop system will then show 40, and we can drive up to 40 km an hour until we pass that main signal. And after that signal, obviously we are in a new situation. I think the speed's probably 125 now. Yeah, it is. Okay, so we should be closing into Bellinzona, 138. Okay. Side. The warnings for overspeed and the actual emergency brake are quite forgiving. Probably more forgiving than in the real world, but that's a decision I made actually to make it a bit more enjoyable to drive the RE460. So it's not a complete well, it's a simulation. It's not like it's not completely like reality. So let's see where we are now. Biasca in about 4 kilometers now. So it should not be too long before we need to slow down to 60, and the zoom system will tell us that. If we go into the wachtsamkheidscontrole, so like the Deadman's pedal or Sifa system, it works as following. From 0 to 20 kilometers an hour, it's in Schnellgang, which means that every 50 meters you have to push the pedal. Oh, there we go with the restrictive 60. So there we see 60. We can acknowledge that, and then we will just slow down to 60. We just use VSOL for that, so like the cruise control, to make sure that we reach 60. If we would go too fast, the system would beep at us and tell us that we're going over the braking curve. But now we're quite well under. So you can see that the track speed is actually 80. But the zoom is overriding that with 60, and that's because we have to go over a switch. We'll get another warning here. Okay, we will probably have to slow down now. Okay, so what I was telling about wachtsamkeit, like the Sifa system, is that up to 20 it goes into Schnellgang, which means that you get a warning after 50 and then a brake after about 100 meters. If you're over 20 kilometers an hour, it changes to 1600 and 1800 meters. The warning at 1600 and the actual brake if you don't acknowledge it at 1800. If you're over 100 kilometers an hour, that will be not distance based but time based. So that means every 30 seconds you will get a warning, and after 35 you will let's see if we can stop in the right position. Good enough. Open the doors. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you. Not to make everything too long. One thing, just to show you how that's a possibility, is that we can put the system in the park position, in the parking mode now. And the way to do that, I think, is to press the park system. The EMS brakes are also lowered now, and then we will switch off the mains, and we will turn off the key. And now the system is back in parking mode again. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video and it helps you to be able to drive the RE460 on this beautiful route. I want to express my thanks again to the guys at Rivet for helping me to be able to make my trains compatible. This is the first one, RE460, which is going to be available very soon, or at the time when you watch this it might be available already. It's version 4, and the other RE420 and RE620 will follow soon. Thank you very much for watching.